On today's episode of the LifeKraft Podcast, we have the inspirational Yvette Aloe. Yvette is a life coach, author, and speaker from South Africa who is impacting thousands of lives through coaching, workshops, and events. Yvette loves helping people grow in purpose, and today we talk about the moments in her childhood that shaped her, manifesting the life you want, limiting beliefs, setting healthy boundaries, asking the right questions, and so much more. Are you ready to be inspired? Tag at the LifeKraft and at Yvette_Aloe and share a screenshot on your stories with us of your biggest takeaway from this episode. And then when you go on this healing journey, you get to a point where you have to do the next thing that's just the most difficult thing for people to do, is setting boundaries. Because now you realize what's serving you and what's not, and you want to start navigating into a life of more fulfillment, more living more consciously. Then you've got to start setting boundaries with yourself, with loved ones, with your partner, at work, and with people in general. How do we set healthy boundaries? Will you please explain to us what a boundary is? Because that's a fundamental part. And then how do we set boundaries in a healthy way as not to hurt people, but just to stay true to yourself?
Boundaries are basically the things that protect us, right? They make us feel safe. They create an environment that serves us. They protect our peace. And they just, I guess, really allow us to say, okay, this is what I will not tolerate, right? So boundaries are things that we create with ourselves and others. And the boundaries, before you even step into boundaries with others, we have to start with ourselves, right? What are the boundaries that we have for ourselves? The boundaries that protect our peace. Like, I will not go on social media because it triggers me. I will not go around people that make fun of me all the time because you know what, it doesn't make me feel good. I will not do this. So boundaries, you have to start with yourself first and observe the things that you do with yourself, that compromise your peace and your happiness. And then now you have to look at other people, right? And we have different types of boundaries. There's energetical boundaries, there's physical boundaries, there's monetary, material boundaries, which have to do with finances and other things. So there's all types of boundaries. And basically, it's just not doing things that you don't want to do, because we've been programmed to do things we don't want to do. And this can, again, come all the way from childhood. Oh, you're a kid, you have to do what I say you have to do, right? You don't get to question things. And a lot of times people struggle with boundaries because of just the experiences where they were not taught to own their voice. They were not taught to own their feelings, right? Because to own a boundary, you have to say, this is uncomfortable. But because so many times we are taught to override our feelings and become diamonds or something about pressure, all those things, right? So really, it's like, first, it's like observing your emotions and saying, okay, this makes me uncomfortable. When this person calls me, there's a discomfort that comes. Is there a boundary that I need to set there? When this person at work messages me on weekends, there's this discomfort that comes up. Is there something that I need to communicate? Why is this discomfort there? What does it bring in my awareness to? And what is it that I need to do so that I don't experience this discomfort? So boundaries is literally observing the things around you and paying attention to how they make you feel. And if the feeling is resentment, anger, frustration, etc., you have to question that and say, okay, I'm uncomfortable because this person calls me unannounced or comes over to my place unannounced. Therefore, there might be a boundary that you need to set there. I'm uncomfortable because this person said they would pay me the last time, they didn't, right? And realizing that it's your money, it's your space, it's your stuff, it's your energy, and therefore you are completely entitled to it. What trauma does, it disconnects you from your emotions, right? And you can't even feel, so you can't even say, I'm uncomfortable. So first you have to say, okay, what am I feeling? Do I actually want to do this? And connect with yourself and say, okay, it makes me feel sad, therefore that means maybe I don't want to do it. And then speaking up. So this is I think most people struggle with this part, because when you speak up, some people may not necessarily like what you have to say because they're used to getting what they want from you. They're you being uncomfortable for them. And really, it's about saying, you know what, it's okay for people not to like you because you're saying it no with your money. It's okay for people not to not want to communicate with you further because you said no to an energetical boundary, so to set a boundary, just observe the things that make you uncomfortable in the simplest of terms and learn to say no. That's the thing about boundaries. I always say that boundaries create space for us to heal, right? Because you can't maintain the healing work without setting boundaries. It's impossible, right? And a lot of times it's literally the people that I work with will come into a session and it's because I can't say no to my family. Now I'm deep in debt. Now I'm in deep sadness because I feel like my life is not in control. And to control your life, you need to start using your no a little bit more and know that every time you do that, you're saying yes to your mental health, to your peace. You're saying yes to your feeling of safety, So that's basically it. And observe when you're doing things that you don't want to do and just use your voice and say no, or use your thumbs and text that person and say, I don't feel comfortable with this if I'm not going to do it. That's basically that.